On today's special episode, we're going to see the solar eclipse at Niagara Falls. First, we'll take a little boost to Spadina and Bloor so we can get some snacks. And from there, we'll do a quick walk to St. George Station to get on Line 1 to Union Station to board our GO train. Let's do it. As I said it, we're heading to Niagara Falls, Ontario to see the Total Solar Eclipse of 2024. If you're new to this channel, I cover things about cycling, transit, as well as things to do in Toronto and other cities that I do happen to visit. This one was a bit off the cuff and unplanned, so I'm just going to take you along for the experience of what I see and what I feel during Totality. The first leg of the trip I took by bike. As I said, I wanted to hit up the Metro grocery store for some snacks. From there on, I went to St. George Station to catch Line 1 down to Union Station. It was a pretty packed subway train, so we're just going to head straight there. No views of the TTC, no need to make anybody's time difficult with a camera. We walk through Union Station to get to York Concourse so we can board a train to Niagara Falls. This is the first time I've ever taken a GO train at crush capacity, and as you can see, it was a hell of a lot of people, and in a few moments you'll see how rough it was to get on this train. Now, some people think I'm absolutely crazy for getting on a commuter train down to Niagara Falls, but this was a special service where they were running 3 trains with 12 cars each. Yes, a lot of people were here to board just these 3 trains, but we were all excited space nerds, ready to see the moon covering up the sun. As you can see, it's a stampede onto the train. They opened both sides. It was kind of nerve-wracking trying to get a seat. Unfortunately, not many people were as lucky as I was. While I do feel bad that some people did have to stand up for the entire 2-hour ride, I do have to say I was very lucky and I did not take that seat for granted. So if you ever are going to attend a special event, whether it's for the CNE, a baseball game, or whatever during the summertime, make sure to get to the train on time. So made it to Niagara Falls, and that was a very cramped train, but happy to have gotten onto it, and we're going to do some exploring now here in Niagara. And I decided to splurge on the Via train on the return trip just to have a little extra comfort and a much more comfortable seat. This is my first time on my own to Niagara Falls, and the walk from the station to Clifton Hill is about 30 minutes, but it's a pretty scenic view, especially if you walk along the gorge. And a really cool thing was the community seemed to get into it. I do have to mention, though, Niagara Falls seemed pretty run down. There were a lot of abandoned buildings, motels, and just general upkeep didn't seem to be on par as where it should be for such a destination. Though it is a very unique place nonetheless. There's also this 650-pound barrel that Major Lloyd Hill used to navigate the Whirlpool Rapids. There was also plenty of heritage homes along the way. Many of them turned into bed and breakfasts, so if you do plan to stay here, you're going to probably be in a pretty unique space. As we continue on, we get closer and closer to seeing the attractions of Niagara Falls, including the Rainbow Bridge between the United States and Canada. At this point, the American Falls and the Horseshoe Falls are in sight, along with a few iconic sights that you will see in Niagara Falls on your trip. This is Clifton Hill, and this place is an animal of its own. Ah, this is so cool. Look at that. I haven't been to a rainforest cafe in forever. I will go later, but I was so jazzed to see one still existing. Clifton Hills is kind of regarded as Canada's Las Vegas or Atlantic City. It's got all the hotels you need, all the attractions, all the museums, a wax museum, an arcade, really anything you can imagine. There's also a roller coaster on top of a building. There's also a mini speedway, and there's just a whole bunch of restaurants that you can go check out and hang out at. And for this special occasion, what a great place to be. Before they close Clifton Hill, I'm gonna grab a quick bite at Yanks. It's a great local bar that's unassuming, really relaxed, and has some pretty decent food. And they finally did the smart thing and closed off Clifton Hill down to the falls, which they should have probably done earlier, as there was a pretty major injury that happened. Yeah, it's good to be proactive, but if you live in Canada or generally North America, there's no proactiveness. It's always reactive, and it's a true tragedy because people get hurt that way. Let's check it out. It's pretty amazing to see just about any space become pedestrianized, even though it is temporary. This would be a really neat place to see as a full-time pedestrianized zone, but this is Canada. We don't work like that, and we prioritize the car, but there is that chance that someone could get hurt, and to avoid doing that, just get rid of the cars. This is kind of where the magic begins to happen. If you know anything about an eclipse, it takes a while. No zip line for me today. Maybe in the future. The attractions don't stop at Clifton Hill. The Niagara Falls features a zip line that takes you from the top all the way to the bottom of the gorge, featuring an incredible view of the falls. On this day, there is no bad view. You're not here for the falls. That's just the bonus. And as you might notice, there's, that overcast. It's not great. But stick around, you might catch a glimpse. So already lost one stop of light and the temperature's dropping. So that's kind of cool despite it being completely overcast. I kind of wish I brought a hat, but whatever. This is where I tune out and let you enjoy the eclipse in Niagara Falls. My day job, I didn't have the microphone on. I usually shoot a lot of B-roll for Curbside Cycle, but I just expressed my joy here. That was 100% worth it. And if you ever get a chance to see a solar eclipse, wow. We were able to see the corona just for a brief second, and it was... It's just, wow. But I redeemed myself with that little GoPro footage. And now it's time to get the hell out of Niagara Falls. But first, a quick stop. So we got about an hour and a half to kill before the Amtrak, or rather via train to Toronto, comes to Niagara Falls. So I'm gonna hang out, see you at the train. What would a trip without going to the upside down house be? No, just kidding, I'm not going there. I had zero clue Niagara Falls had this great scenic path to the train station. Much needed after such a crowded day. So if you can recognize that behind me, that is not a Via Rail train. That is Amtrak's train number 98, operated by Via on the Canadian side. And we're going to take this all the way to Union Station in downtown Toronto. It's a bit of a little surprise for today, so pretty excited about that. So, Niagara Falls, Ontario serves as a border inspection agency. So, the train pulls up after everyone unloads, and they process everyone's information. And then they all go back into the station so we can reboard and make our way to Toronto. The trip from Niagara Falls, Ontario to downtown Toronto will take us about 2 hours. This train, though, has been in operation for about 12 hours from New York City. It's epically hot in here. That station did not leave much to be desired, and quite frankly, kind of a bad intro to Canada. But maybe it's also a great way to set up that Canada is kind of no frills. The train I'm getting on is part of the older fleet and is due for replacement in the next few years. These cars are known as the Am Fleet 2s, and they've been around since about the mid-70s. The amount of space you have for your seat and legroom, my god, it's luxury. It's like business class. Anyone sitting here? Cool, thank you. And unlike the GO train, there's so much room, it doesn't smell, and there's a bathroom that I can use with ease because it was impossible to get to the one on the GO train. Regardless, that's your bathroom tour of a train that's been in use for 12 hours. That's a long trip. Regardless, the water was hot, plenty of soap, plenty of paper towel. It's a working bathroom, and I'm happy to have it. Most Amtrak trains have a pretty decent cafe car. This one did. Though that should be expected for a 12-hour haul. The cafe car is generally pretty busy, but once you get up there, you do have some pretty good selections of sandwiches and snacks. These are absolutely nothing to write home about, but they keep your belly full until your destination. It was also really neat to see the Via Rail logo along with the Amtrak. And that's it. We are rolling through Hamilton and on our way to downtown Toronto. Thanks for joining me on this spontaneous adventure, seeing the 2024 Total Solar Eclipse. Please consider subscribing for more adventures like this.